If I were speaking to my 20-year-old self, struggling with relationship issues, identity issues, struggling with my self-worth, I would tell her, no matter what they're telling you, God wants and desires more for you. As a child, I always felt sometimes that God was punishing me in some ways. I never really understood if he was a loving God. I would always feel like I wasn't good enough or I was always doing something wrong.
I grew up religious, I knew of God, but I never had that intimate relationship and I never really understood it.
I was exposed to different versions of God. That he was watching every move and that the end goal was to go to heaven because you don't want to burn in hell. Growing up, my relationship with my mom was rough. When I couldn't be that perfect daughter, everything at school with chores, I had a fear that I could never fail. Even though I was achieving, I was getting scholarships, I would always feel like I wasn't good enough. I questioned God a lot about myself, my identity, my self-worth. Why am I never enough? It was the semester right before graduation from nursing school. I was kind of having short of breath. And so I was like, oh man, I'm really physically out of shape or there's something wrong. And so I go to the doctors and she's like, Jen, what I'm about to tell you is gonna shock you. You're in end-stage kidney failure. What are you talking about? I know what kidney failure is. I don't have that. I'm fine. I was in a place of fear, denial. Here I am, trying to become a successful daughter. And yet, I'm getting a diagnosis that is shaking my whole life. I was in a relationship at the time. The doctors were saying, oh, you'll never get pregnant. Or no, you really shouldn't carry a baby because of your condition. My boyfriend at the time, our relationship was at an end because I couldn't promise him children. And then that shifted to me now wrestling with my worth again. Despite my struggle, I was invited by my cousin to church.
Maybe you're here today and your life is you're experiencing suffering. Your life is dark. There's a lot of pain. See, relationship with God brings restoration. It's a great thing. He doesn't intend us to stay the way that we are, but he brings restoration to all that's broken.
I felt that I was not worthy because I had stopped going to church religiously, which I thought I was supposed to do as a kid, and that if I stopped going, then God would be so mad at me. But in that moment, I felt there was a sense of hope.
What area of your life are you needing God to restore? What broken relationship, what broken area? There's no limit to what he can do.
It was in that moment I said, yes, God. Raised my hand, said the salvation prayer, and I knew that this was going to be a shift in not just my life, but even my perspective on who God is. I ended up needing to do dialysis for 5 years. Every night, 8 hours every night. I was ready to settle into just having kidney failure for the rest of my life. Despite my struggle, I realized that I didn't have to be identified by my condition, that God would still use me. And it was either to, go on missions trips, help share the gospel on college campuses. And because of my condition, my mom and I have actually gotten closer. And so it became a time of healing and restoration. And to think that was just the beginning still of the story. It was July 2016. I got a phone call. Yeah, we have a potential kidney donor for you. Not realizing what's happening, here I am waiting for 5 years, and when the moment happens, I'm in denial.
Estimated time of surgery is 7 o'clock. They're rolling me out. Bye, friends.
That was my miracle, that the transplant happened.
Hey guys, I'm going home.
My miracle of a step closer to being healed, not just physically, but just even in my soul. But the biggest struggles that I wrestled with, finding a life partner, becoming a mom, wrestling with all those ideas. It wasn't until I had God-fearing woman who came into my life, kind of challenging that thought, saying like, no, don't you know that our God is greater? Don't put a period where he really just meant to put like a comma.
I see evidence of your goodness all over my life, all over my life. I see the promises and fulfillment all over my life, all over my life.
I still struggle with doubt. I'll still struggle with disbelief in my identity. But when I get to look back on God's faithfulness, I'm reassured again that I am a daughter of God, that I am his, that I am worthy. If I were speaking to my 20-year-old self, I would tell her, despite what you may think, God sees you. You are loved. If you choose God, oh, Jen, you're gonna be in disbelief.